It's Rich Wellington from richwellington.com. Welcome to another episode of the Transformative Sales Podcast. I'm joined by Owen Lewis, who's going to introduce himself in just a second and let you hear his beautiful Irish accent. I'm really excited to have Owen with me. So, thanks so much for coming on, Owen.
No, I'm delighted. Cheers, Rich. And I'm flattered by the admiration of my Irish accent. As Rich said, I'm from Dublin, but at the moment I'm living in London. So I don't know, I'm kind of half and half, I call myself now.
He's a naughty Irishman.
Traitor.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever lose that accent though. It's the same as I was in London a few days ago, and the person that I was with has a more southerly accent, and I stick out like a sore thumb. I let somebody come down the stairs, and she's like, "Oh, thank you." I said, "You're all right, lass." Like, she won't have a clue what you just said.
Yeah. Alien.
Yeah, precisely. So it'd be great if everybody listening or watching, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel and stuff, you could just let them know, like, who are you? Where you from? Yeah. What do you do? With yourself. Yeah. Give everyone a little bit of an elevator pitch, I guess.
So as I said, I'm Owen Lewis. Work as a body transformation coach, getting guys in shape. But it's more than just body shape. I help men that want to transform internally as well as the external, because that's important. It's what we can do with our bodies when we start to love our bodies and really transform and take care for ourselves. Then we start to take care of the mindset. We actually start to believe we can push something stronger out of ourselves, and we become something more than what we are capable of. We push the limits. So that's what I help guys do. I help them bring structure to that, make it do in a way that suits into their lifestyle, build it around what they want to keep in, build it around their families, build it around their professions, and then craft that into something where they reach a potential that they never thought they could get to, which they never believed they could get to. So I help craft that for men.
Beautiful. That's amazing. And Owen's, you recently brought a book out as well.
Yeah. So released a book recently. It's called Man the Fuck Up and Learn to Love Yourself. So give an idea on it. It's pretty much, it's my back struggles of going through the storyline of it is my relationship, probably my first girlfriend I had, and how I basically weighed my entire emotions on her. She was the meaning for my happiness. And if she wasn't happy, I wasn't happy. And so it was a switch at that point, which was probably one of the largest switches in my life that said, I need to fucking man up here. Like, this is my responsibility. Love that I generate is my responsibility. It is not responsible for her to make me feel happy. I have to decide that myself. I have to be the one who cares for myself. I have to decide. I need to progress. When we start to put all our emotions into, whether that's a partner, a job, or something external factor, then we start to always seek it from somewhere else. But love starts from inside. And when we start to push ourselves and chase higher achievements, whether that's professionally, but being content at the same time is important. So it's not just chasing, but being able to say, though, I got a little bit more there. It's progress. It's the root. Growth will bring that happiness. Growth will bring the love into yourself. The progress that you want to make to be the best human being you can be. And then also that shows up then excellently for, say, whether it's a wife, kids, whoever, community at large. When you try to be the best version of yourself for yourself, everyone else will benefit.
Beautiful. Do you see yourself as a servant to people? How do you actually perceive yourself in the world with what you do?
I think I'd say servant, yes. Helping unravel, I think, where people actually believe they can go, where men believe they can get to. Help them crawl into that dark place with them and step out. So at that same time, why my emotions were hung up on this girlfriend was because I was really depressed. I was anxious. I didn't know anything. I was so depressed and on the verge of suicide to that extent. So I help guys, and I want to help guys that come in there and find themselves in that place and just lacking direction, where the future looks dark and bleak and there's no path forward, I want to crawl in there, put an arm around them guys and go, come on, we can, you can love yourself. I'm not here to love them. I'm not here to do that. I can't do that. They have to learn to love themselves, but I can help along the way and I can be there as support, but they're the ones who have to take the action. I can't make them take action. I can't do that. It's impossible. They have to decide, but I can be there as assistance and be there as support with the arm around the shoulder saying, come on, mate, let's go. We can do this together. We're all going to do this together. And I think that's what we need as in with men. There's been a massive shift in that in the last number of years, but I think that's just going to compound and grow. We need to create that mental health and the mental field where we can all come together and say, yeah, we're going to move forward together.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. A lot of that camaraderie is missing, from civilian life. As you know, maybe you don't know if you're listening or watching this. I was in the British military, and one of the things that I took away from that. I mean, before I joined the military, I was part of the family business, and we're quite a close knit unit. Because we experienced some abuse and a lot of fucking negative shit, and people leaving our lives. So then I really solidified my understanding of this, like, saying, like, arm around each other. We're going to fucking get through this, and, like, picking each other up out of the mud and, like, pushing each other forwards. When I went through that in the military, I was like, I've been doing this. I've been doing this, like, the majority of my life. I wasn't able to quantify it. So yeah, the comradeship, I believe, is really important in that scenario. So, when you're talking about, I asked you if you see yourself as a servant. I kind of see myself as a servant in the world. I guess when I've really laid myself bare and, communicated the stuff that's happened to me and how I've turned it all around into the person that I am today, and, how I help people in the world, I'm like, I really do see myself as a servant. Like, I turn up every day wanting to serve people. Like, and before we go down the route of serving, like, you can work behind an actual physical counter and be serving people. You can work in a call center and be serving people. It's the intent behind what you do with your actions and the words that you use on the depth of that serving, right? Yeah. So do you feel like you personally, and then the guys that you look after, like when you've laid yourself bare and you just be like, this is me, this is what I've been doing wrong, or this is what I've been doing right, and here I am in the world. Do you feel like then you're just ready to help other people? And vice versa for your guys as well? Because when all we're ever doing is worrying about our own shit, that's it. That's all we're doing. We're not actually capable physically or psychologically or emotionally to be able to put out to other people. So, I'm just giving you a lot.
Yeah. I'm following you. I think definitely it is serving. It's serving guys that they can serve up as better, as we said, partners, community, children. I often find whenever I'm working with some guys and we start to talk about doing some work together, and if their goals are often like, I want to get in shape because I want to, have this hot girlfriend, I want to sleep with loads of girls and this, it's just like their motives aren't in line with mine. Their philosophies aren't. But I want to help guys that are like, they want to have the energy to run after their kids. They want to be able to play all day, play sports, and they want to be able to come home in the evening and have fun and enjoyment, not just be sulking and crashing into the couch, and don't want to just turn to the cookie jar every time they need a bit of something, or grabbing a beer or a glass of wine, whatever it is. They want to be the best version of themselves, but only for the simple fact that their wife's going to love them a lot more. They're going to be that dad that's going to be around for years. They're not having a heart attack at 50. They want to be there. They want to be servants. Same thing. Yeah, I'm helping serve them. I'm serving for them that they can make that journey as well. I want to find guys that are at that point where they believe they want more and believe they know they can be better. And that's the step. It's not just for getting improvement or improving physically for the sake of, I'm going to achieve I'm going to acquire external thing like girlfriend, or I'm going to acquire external body. No, it's I want to transform because I'm going to acquire it internally. I'm going to transform internally. I'm going to become something else. I'm transforming externally and internally. And that's what we want to see. And that's the power in the transformation. Physical, mental, everything.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I am like the embodiment of transformation in the world. It has to be. And it's great what you said about people choosing themselves, like making their own choice, to transform. Again, in a world where a lot of things are attempted to be forced upon us, we're attempting, people and companies and brands and stuff attempt to force us down a particular path. I think it's so important to enlighten people on their own choice and their ability to have choice, with absolutely everything that they do. So that's great. So tell us a little bit about, your own personal, transformation and journey. Like what brought you to this point now of where you're like a servant to these guys and, you've got the ability to just, almost like mind read, like what's going on with people.
Following your, so for me, it started, go back a little bit further. When I was a teenager, I found myself just acting out. I think even as I started to look back and analyze this myself, I think I was bullied quite a bit when I was younger. I was bullied, very kind of young, a little bit different. I had a birthmark on my face, and people would then make comments and be like, "What's that? Kid's not knowing." So I was always self-conscious of that. That rose up anxiety. I was always just in shopping centers, anxious, bullied a little bit because of that. And then I think once I hit the age of around 11, 12, it's when you start to try fit in with your peers rather than like approval from parents. So I started to morph that. And then I just became the person who I had to be in with the friends that I was with. I was liking their music, liking their clothes. And I think being in a conscious state after a bit of time, it just drove me insane. It was driving me down. And I was even into circles where we were doing drugs, going to nightclubs. I was selling, ecstasy around nightclubs in Dublin at 17 with a fake ID getting in. So from that then, by the time I was 18, left school, I just kind of had a breakdown of I didn't know what the hell I was doing with myself and just on that brink of suicide. So at that point, I met this girl. She was my everything. It only lasted a few months, but through that, then I decided to transform my body. And this is where I go into the book is I did a body transformation, entered a Mr. Ireland contest, took all that avenue, started to travel. I go, I'm going to actually get out there. And with travel, I found was excellent for just going, I'm going by myself. I don't care. I'm going to go find myself and just put myself into uncomfortable situations, like in random countries, experiencing culture. How do other people live? It's not just how I live. Through that, then I started to find myself more. I have always had that background of gym, exercise. And what I went to study was personal training. I always wanted to be a personal trainer. Never did well in school because I always knew I wanted to be a personal trainer. But through going into personal training, I realized it's just not enough. I didn't find too much fulfillment in it. Whereas the real fulfillment came in what I got to see the people become. And that's where I transitioned into coaching as opposed to training. Rather than just being there going, this is what you do, that's what you do. I wanted to coach people through the mindset changes, the habit changes, getting deeper into their psyche to understand what they wanted. And then I noticed that it was getting even better results in the gym as well because we really understood the drivers that then they could push out that extra 1 or 2 reps when it was needed, run that extra bit more when it was needed because we understood what drove them to be what they wanted to be.
Nice. Yeah, the psychological game, the mental aspect is everything. It really is. And particularly away from sort of high level military individuals and like the high level athletes of the world, the general population, was still of the belief that, to achieve this and achieve that with your life, that it was all physical. But there's so much of this involved. A real great program that, I don't watch television, but the one thing that I tune in to watch on like the replay thing, I don't know what you call it, on demand or whatever, is that the SAS Who Dares Wins. right? The series on those. And within there, they take these sort of regular civilians, if you like, who have always perhaps wanted to do, some sort of military training, and they take them through phases of the SAS selection. And the whole time, it's never, ever just like purely the fittest person or purely the fittest individuals who get, through the particular days. It's always those that have got the mental grit, the mental resilience, the mental determination. And again, 9 times out of 10, it's usually those that have suffered, some serious shit in their lives that actually end up getting through this stuff, because they've already had to kind of inbuild that resilience and that grit and that determination and that shield, But then it's great to witness these people being broken down so that they can understand like how they can be even better. And, we were talking about superheroes a little bit, before we hit record, right? And it's almost like that as well. Like these people were already going to operate at a pretty high level, but then they're just shown that little thing, right? Broke you down this much, not giving you any food, not much sleep. Now, this is where we tap into that, that really out of the stratosphere version of yourself. That's interesting. That's super interesting. So, when you're looking after guys, what is it that you're looking for inside of them? Like, do you have a methodology, like how you tap into them and start to understand who they are?
So I think the main thing to look for is, do they see growth? Do they see that they can be better? And do they see an improvement? That's the first thing. I use an acronym, BRIM. So that's BRIM. And for BRIM, that's business, relationship, image, mindset. And is there an improvement in any of them areas? Can they see their relationships improving with their children, their spouse? Can they see improvement in business from whether that is gaining that psychological edge, the physical edge of having more energy? Can they see their internal reflection change? So these are all important factors that I take into account. But also is, what do they envision? You need to have a clear vision of what. Without a vision, there's nothing that can be achieved. Unless a guy, and that's the first thing I always see is, it's not the first thing. At first I see where they are. What's the struggle? Is there that pain there to change? Is there that desire to change? And then, do they have a clear-cut vision? And sometimes they just say, I want to be better. I want to be good. I just want to get some, I want to tone up, be in shape. And okay, tell me what's going to be different with that? How's your life going to be changed? How's your relationship going to look? How's that going to affect you hanging out with your kids? And then if it says, my relationship be better, what the hell's better? Come on, tell me. I want to see, can they see and envision it clearly of how they're going to, sometimes guys come up with the most amazing stuff. We have these imaginations and these vivid images that come up of, I'm at the beach with my girlfriend and wife, and we're standing there and I'm just confident, I have my chest out, head held high. I actually wearing just shorts. I don't have to put a t-shirt on over because I'm embarrassed of my body. I'm feeling confident. And as well, it's the subtleties also to go into it. It's the subtleties that guys make of, I don't feel embarrassed. No. Fuck that. It's, I feel confident, not I don't feel embarrassed. We want to empower how we feel at that moment in the vision, not taking it that I don't feel embarrassed. That tells me they're looking at the negative, but I feel confident. So we're taking them subtle changes. I want to make sure the guys instill that. And even if we don't decide to do work together and we don't think anything, at least I can make that transformation of them, that they start to view stuff in a positive rather than a negative. Because if they're constantly looking at it in that negative loop, they're going to just stay stuck in that and they won't get out. But until you start looking at them positive loops, then they'll really start to empower themselves.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate, huge fan of helping people dreamscape their futures.
Yeah.
And like you say, envisage, what is to come and what is possible. Because that's where some people are really limited. Again, I say some, most of the population is very limited in terms of the possibilities that they can actually see, because they're told there's a limit to things. There's a lack of, there's not enough of this. There's not enough love in the world. There's not enough money in the world. There's not enough of this. There's not enough time, right?
Mm.
So that sort of dreamscaping is definitely something I love to do with people, like every day, like just opening people's minds and letting them say, like, whoa, shit, this guy can do it, then fuck me, I can do it, you know? I think that's the great thing about having, you know, a coach like yourself, is it's like, I've been through the shit. I was suicidal, man. I was fucking selling drugs in nightclubs that I was lying to get inside to go fucking do. Do you know what I mean? It's just so, like, you personally, you know, you could have gone down a completely different path in life. Completely different path. Like, how many times have you heard, you know, people talk about, you know, teenagers and young guys and girls that got in with the wrong crowd, started selling drugs. Next minute, they're just in a perpetual loop of going in and out of prison, right? And they end up on one of these fucking prison TV programs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what, for you, why do you think that didn't happen? Do you think that you were sort of rebelling in a roundabout sort of way, but you were still conscious of like the severity of what you were doing? What pulled you back to like what you probably feel is your purpose and your you know, your time here on earth to do?
When I was going to nightclubs selling drugs, I was conscious of what I was doing. I was aware, and the awareness was, I'm under 18. I can't get a legal offense for this that's going to cause major problems. That was actually the truth. So like,
Owen saw the loophole in the law.
You know what, it's not the best, and in a way, what I was using it for was to fit in and to gain that people are going to recognize me as, oh, he's the guy who's the life and soul of the party, who brings this energy to the party. But also, I think I was aware of the struggles, and what started to change to not let myself fall back into the places was finding meditation was a big changing point for me. And that actually didn't come, it probably came about 18 months after feeling suicidal, because starting meditation then, whereas I can now recognize the thoughts as they start to come up, the chatter in the brain. Whereas before that would have just gone like chatter, chatter, chatter. And that would build up over 2-3 weeks. You're not good enough. Why do you deserve this? You can't be this. You can't be that. And again, it's noticing even just them chatters, this subtle difference between, you know, I can do this, or I want to be confident versus I don't want to be embarrassed anymore. So it's noticing them chatters. I was able to manage the chatter as I would start to talk and talk and talk. And now I started to become recognizing of meditating with it, letting it down, calming it, quieting it, putting it aside, saying that's not true. It's not really useful. So that was a big changing point to make that shift, and then to decide that I wanted to change. But I do think a lot of the stuff I was doing was to rebel. Same thing with going traveling. Traveling gave me an experience to say, I even had, I forgot that I even at a point, I wanted to rename myself and call myself Max when I moved to Australia, because I had nobody. I was like, you know, I'm just going to totally be someone new. I can be anyone. But the idea was I just wanted to get away from the life. And I started to then really find who I was over the course of like 5 years of traveling, not really going home for more than a couple of weeks. I started to really find who I was, put myself in with actually different people who I hadn't met before. And then that really just opened up the pathway for what was to come.
Awesome. And I hear this a lot, you know, people that want to go traveling. I've never been traveling, just FYI. And that's not to say I didn't ever want to. But I think the thing I've noticed is the people that they're trying to escape themselves.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, something I said to someone a good few years ago now was like, you can do all the traveling in the world, brother. You know, you can go to the Balis and all the other spiritual places, but there's always going to be the same thing every time you arrive at each place, and that's fucking you, right?
Yeah.
So until you actually decide, it doesn't matter whether I'm in fucking Coventry, Yorkshire, fucking Scotland, Ireland, Bali, Australia, fucking New York. It really does not fucking matter.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, the thing that is always going to drive the limiting possibilities in life, you know, the level that you can, you know, achieve or get to, the depth of relationships that you can experience is always you. Always you, every fucking single time. So I think, you know, what you're doing and what you're doing for men, and the book that you brought out. It sounds amazing, because just there needs to be more of that. Essentially,
I think with that, like when I went to Australia, I remember when I first got there, soon after leaving, I remember sitting on a bench and just kind of crying up in Darwin. I was by myself and just kind of thinking, what am I doing? Like, should I just go home? And it's like, no, you've kind of come this far. And to be honest, it wasn't even, some subtle changes happened then, but I then met a girl in Australia. I'm still with her now. And when we were going through Southeast Asia, we had a bit of a pregnancy scare. I was sitting there and I was after having like cornrows and stuff in my head. I was always acting out in external ways to try be as always that I would do. And I kind of sat there going, I'm not ready to be a dad. I just can't do it. I don't have my own shit in order. I'm just completely lost. I was like, this is not, I can't do this. So luckily it was, we were all okay. There's nothing, because we just weren't ready for that. And then from that point, I was like, right, when I do have children, when that time comes, I'm ready. I'm the man I want to be. I'm the man I want to be for them. I'm the one who wants to lead and show them what a real man is, what true character is, what a man who loves is, what a man who has both his masculine and his feminine side combined into one who can be that powerful energy, who really symbolize that. So that I'm not perfect myself. And I certainly believe that I'm not perfect. I'm not ever going to be. I've had my experience, but all I can do is hope that I can set the stage for when I do bring children into the world, that they can be as close to perfect as possible. And we can do that through building that character, that they can then be that. But I've had these experiences, but I'm never going to be perfect. But we can try to get as close to that, and then set that stage for the next generation to keep taking another rung up the ladder as they keep going.
Nice. Got it. Okay. So this is interesting what you're saying about kids and kind of each generation, improving upon the last, and having your kids be perfect. I never wanted children. Going back a good few years now, and I wanted life to be like in this place before then I could tick the box or whatever and start all that stuff, and it didn't work out that way. As simple as that, really. What do you think? So what have you experienced personally for you to feel like you need to be a near as damn perfect parent? And then do you feel like, I'm expressing kind of my own personal opinions and feelings here as well, because this is something I worry about, is, if we mollycoddle our kids, right, and we give them an easy, comfortable life, kind of like what we're doing here. Yeah, we're creating a soft generation of individuals. We're going to create children that don't work hard and they don't have these huge realizations. Or do you believe that because we're given that well-rounded environment with emotionally intelligent individuals, as well as intellectually intelligent individuals, that we're actually going to create these superhumans? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think so. The first question is what has to happen to be a parent, wasn't it? So I think it's when that time comes, it comes. But all I can do is try make the correct decision in each second of each day, the best that I can. If something happens, so what be it, move on to the next. But before, I could have made, as you say, as we were kind of talking about earlier, when selling drugs as a youth, that then compounds into selling this to that, and we say that turns into prison. So if you envision a boat taking off and it's heading from, say, Ireland across to New York, if that takes halfway across the ocean, halfway through your life, if that takes 1 degree to the right in the wrong direction, you end up in, Antarctica, and you might have a Titanic situation. If you head 1 degree to the left, you're going to end up down in the Bahamas in an even better situation, which is sunshine and that. So it's these slight changes in life that can take and veer us. And these decisions are made every single second of every single day, what we choose to do. So whether that's, do we choose to go to the gym today? I don't feel like, I'm going to go through. It's having the discipline to do all these actions and follow through. So that's how I envision, that's the only way we can be the best we can be. And we can get better and better at that, and then that relays true, because our kids then pick up from examples of what we do, our actions. What do we do? If we're going to be there doing drinking, doing drugs and smoking, the very likeliness is your children will also pick up them same habits, because they see they do, they're very good, particularly at a young age, of just picking up that, and it's instinctual then. It's built into them. So I think we build that, make the decisions right. And then in terms of kids, it's encouraging them, letting them find their heart, where their heart drives them to. Is that sport? Is that creative? Where is that? And letting them to express that through whether that is sports or some type of art form or dancing or whatever it is they decide to express themselves, and be very encouraging of that. Try not to be critical. Try to be supportive. Try to say, yes, let's keep going, do this, and let's put our energies towards that, as opposed to, you might be better doing this. You should be a doctor. You should be that. Channel them into that and let them go explore as well as youths. I think let them go find trouble. Let them be in uncomfortable situations. Like, it's very easy to try jump in and say, no, we're going to keep you safe here. And if they're getting bullied, sometimes it's best to go, you know what, go stick up for it. Go stick up for yourself. And it can be seen you're, David confronting Goliath, and you're like, oh no, like, for your child, just go do it. And there's a lesson then to kind of be learned in that, as in, pushing through, confronting difficulties when it's had. So I think children can also, and they need to make them decisions as they come, and they start to learn how to make them better decisions. So the sooner you can learn to make them 1,000 decisions in a day that you make, the sooner you can make them better, the sooner you can start to influence kids to make more correct decisions. I'm using air quotes if you're listening, correct, because we never know what's going to be correct, but we can more encourage them to go down that path.
Yeah, got it. Sweet. It's a totally different realm once you go down. And this is not me saying to Owen right now, you don't have a fucking clue because you're not a parent right now.
Yeah.
Because you have this like vision of what it's going to be like, and then something completely different happens.
Yeah.
So it's like you can never plan. And if you're
absolutely
not watching, you're like, damn straight. It's a very reactive place to be. Being a parent, because all of a sudden you've got this human that is 50% of you. And if you truly love yourself, you'll fucking love that. That human being that's come to life. But then, allowing them that space to be creative and bang their knees and, jump off that thing and see what happens. And, it's
exactly.
It's like, well, it's pretty intense from day to day, because you just like, be careful with that and don't do that. And, I have to like shut myself up, quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So I try not to like, program them with the be careful and don't try that and don't do this. I'm just like, I can see that thing's about to drop on your foot, but I'm just going to let it happen. And you're going to cry, it's going to hurt, but then we can talk about it afterwards. Are we going to do that again? No, probably not. Cool.
Yeah.
What do we learn from that situation?
It's like what we said earlier. It's the pains. You learn from them pains. It's people who've gone through pain and struggle often learn to be a lot more, but in smaller circumstances for children like that, dropping something on their foot, they then learn not to let something drop on their foot. But we can't control each aspect, but we can only take each moment as it comes. We say there's 1,000 moments or whatever in a day. Like anything can happen right now. Like I could be sitting here and Rich, you could just suddenly have a heart attack, and then all of a sudden we're thrown into the unknown. I'm like, hey, what am I going to do? Call the police? So it's constantly like that as well with our children, but the stakes feel a lot higher as they are our children. They are a lot higher because we care for them so much, and they are everything to us. So, but we can only make each decision as we go through each moment of the day.
Love it. I'm not going to have a heart attack, by the way, if you're listening. Don't panic. I believe I'm in good health. If you're watching, I may look a little bit pasty right now. That's just here in the UK. I've not been on holiday for a little while, but I'm actually okay. Brilliant. And again, just to add to that, we were just talking about the topic of children and stuff. I like actively coach the kids.
Yeah.
Communicate with them in a way. It's obviously on a different level to how I would, talk to an adult and someone that's not, a family member. But, I educate them like daily and communicate with them like what's happening in all different, parts of our lives, and like how I've handled a certain situation and stuff, in the hope that they're absorbing that, and that the environment that they're growing up around will make them have a level of emotional intelligence, business intelligence, and other levels of IQ that perhaps, exceeds what people expect of a 13-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 19-year-old. So, they perhaps don't have to make some of the mistakes that I did, growing up, and, they don't get a criminal record, and, have to do community service and all this sort of shit, and they can actually make really precise decisions for themselves. I'm sure you feel the same way, having, experience the things that you've gone as well. So that's what we do. We've got this, I guess, this mantra that communication, high level and a depth of communication is really important on a daily basis with everyone in the household.
Yeah. I think it's allowing children as well to, their decisions are valid, or their opinions are valid, and, they're welcomed when they have a suggestion or anything like that, to encourage their openness, and not saying, well, this is the right thing and that's the wrong thing, but letting them to explore, like, what do you think of this kind of situation? Allowing them into dialogue, as we were saying.
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't believe that there's any, and if there is, there's maybe small nuances of difference between communicating with an adult and a child.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's why at times I have a lot of buy-in, even with children that aren't my own, because I talk to them as if they're just another adult in the room. So then their ability to open up and share with me, what's going on in their life is, we get a pretty good result.
Yeah.
Mini adults, just inexperienced adults. That's what I look at children as. That's all. That's all it is. Go make your mistakes, child. Cool. Let's move the topic on a little bit, back onto like you and what's happening in Owen Lewis's coaching world, and like what you're wanting to do, sort of into the future.
So for the future is just trying to get this out to as much men as possible, trying to influence them so then they do influence other lives. Professionally, I want to bring this more into corporate environments as well, where I can start to influence workplace and bring the more aspect of this mental health, particularly now I'm based in London, is I want to be able to bring the mindset into people in stressful environments that are dealing with this day to day. Because what often has happened is we're going into stressful environments, and then people are bringing that stress home with them to their families, and letting that tension out that's been built up all day, and they're screaming at their wife, their children, and because they're not caring for themselves. And that's where this love for themselves, the hatred in themselves, is coming out and being projected onto them, or their hatred towards Billy the boss, is being projected out of the family. We want to try nip that so that they have control over the emotions, the thoughts. I don't even think control is possible, but just being able to recognize them and manage their emotions, thoughts, and channel them in correct avenues. Like, feel aggressive, using that towards exercise. Being able to feel the compassion and emotion towards strangers, because we have also felt it towards us. So that's some plans for the future, to bring it down that avenue, and just helping more men to step into that power and just really show up as rock star dads, rock star, husbands, all that sort.
Beautiful. That's awesome, dude. And I'd really love for the people, listening and watching, to be able to have something to take away from you. Right. So, how about you give us, 2 or 3 of like your best actionable tips, for the guys that you look after. What like the 2 or 3 like big things that you find like, give people like a result or some momentum, in their life. I'll give you the mic.
So I think the best thing you could do, and we'll just keep it, I think, even to one simple layout of what to do, is imagine your life's like a movie, and we're sitting there and we're watching it, and we've ordered kind of Domino's and it's on its way, and we just hit pause. And we're going to the door, we're collecting the pizza off the delivery guy, we give him a tip and all, because we're nice and generous, and you can smell the pizza and it's, you know, that cheese and the pepperoni and stuff. We're sitting down and we're about to press play again. What's going to happen in that movie? And that movie is your life. What has happened before that? Sit down with a pen and paper and write what's happened, what's influenced your life. I've kind of spoke of some of mine as we've gone through this podcast. But write that down, what's happened to you. Who, I call it who you were, and then who you will become. So this is who you are. What's happened in your past? What kind of person were you? Were you shy, outgoing? What experiences have you had? And then who will you become? And write it in detail and just keep writing. What will you become? What's going to happen in the movie that is your life? We often get so caught up in life that everything's real and everything's serious, but it's not really. Life just plays out as a movie, and let it be. But we can have that influence now. We've hit that pause button. We're about to start back again. Decide what's going to happen. So set that as two different tasks. What's happened prior to that point of hitting pause in your movie, and what's going to happen in the next phase of your movie. Sometimes it's easy to break these down. It's kind of like goal setting. What's happening in the next 6 months, the 2 years, 5 years, and go big to 10 years. Put as much detail into it as you can. What can you see? What can you hear? What's really happened? What can you feel? Really make it visceral as possible, as we kind of spoke earlier. The more it's in this surface, the more wishy-washy it is. The deeper you go into it, the more real it is, the more you feel it. And sometimes even doing these is, you might even start to cry. You might start to really break down, feel the emotion behind what you're doing. I've done this myself to the extent, and if you're finding it that's going good, you're writing, it's great. I went to the extent of writing my funeral. So what was going to be had at my funeral, and I wrote a talk that my son gave at my funeral. And so I'm like 70, I've died, and this is the speech that my son's given at my funeral to say, Owen, he was a great guy, I'm, going on from there. I remember I wrote it down, I go to my girlfriend, I did this task, what do you think? And so I started to read out, and just floods into tears, and just bawled my eyes out, and I couldn't get the words out. And it took me a few minutes of crying, composing myself, could finish it, and the reason why I cried is because it felt so possible. It felt so viscerally impossible that I wanted to touch the lives and the hearts of as many men as possible. And this is what then drove this ambition now, was this is what I want to be remembered for. This is a legacy. This is beyond me, that I was able to touch the hearts and lives of so many people, and then just influence their families and generations. So it's that setting where you really want to go and really viscerally feel where you want to be. What's that exactly going to be like? And where have you previously been in the past? What's drove you to this pausing of your movie?
Beautiful. Again, the dreamscaping stuff, right? So it's so important to use that, that part of your brain to imagine, because when you start to bring it out to, be in front of you and, wrote down or drawn or, however you work, you then, as long as you've got the right people supporting you, like Owen, myself, or whoever else, you can make that stuff a reality, because then you can start actioning. Like I'm a big fan of backwards engineering situations, the way you want to get to, and then it's like, right, what's the mechanism to get there? What do I need to do on a daily basis, a weekly, a monthly basis, in order to keep driving, towards that thing? So once you've got this like pause movie, where have I been? Where do I want to get to? Like what would someone then do on like a more granular level in order to start, moving towards their vision?
So yeah, I do similar as well, Rich. Is like begin with the end in mind, as I always say. What's the end? Begin backwards, and then from there, it's just set. What do I have to do? Is this possible? What action steps do I have to take? What's the 2 or 3 things that I can do now to start bringing me towards that? Is it getting up earlier? Is it making sure I get my workouts in before the whole family wake up? Where is that going to fit in? And that's different to you, because your to all listeners, your life better than either of us. So you set that out, but then it's taking action is the biggest thing. Like I love talking about mental health and well-being, particularly for men, but it's so much to just talk about mental health. And I feel it can often get turned into a pity party of, I've had this and I've been depressed and sad like this and I've gone through such hard times. Okay, good. Now what are we going to do though? Like it's about action. Action brings us out of there. Action will take it forward. So as we're kind of saying, begin with the end in mind, know where you're going. What steps now have to happen to get there? And exactly what you said, Rich, is like what's going to happen by month, by week, set targets of. So I did this recently at the start of the year. I wanted to be going to jiu-jitsu a little bit more than what I had been going. So I wrote on my whiteboards, I was like, right, January, I'm going to go 6 times in the month. So I'd knocked them off because I was getting critical. If I did miss a session, something would come up. I said, okay. I got towards the end of the month and I wasn't getting close to the goal. I was like, right, now I'm going to just up it a little bit more. The same for February. I upped it to 7. But I said, right, I want to hit 20-something sessions in the next 3 months. How am I going to do that? Okay, I'm going to break down. I'm going to do this much, this much, this much, and this much. And the same with my weight. I decided to lean up for summer. I'm going to lose 2 or 3 kilos each month. Halfway through this month, I wasn't getting closer to it. I was like, okay, I got to drop my calories down now another little bit. I'm now, as of today, I've hit my goal for this month of February of my weight. You got to constantly analyze. You got to see where you are and then take the action steps that need to be there. What gets measured gets managed. If you measure it, it's going to get there. So with anything, if you want to contact X amount of people, send out the messages, send out whatever it is, make the phone calls if it's business, if it's gym sessions, show up to the gym, whatever it is, 20 times in the month, decide whatever it is. Maybe it's just 4 times in the month, but set the goal. Don't set it too high. Set it where it's like 5-10% more than where you go. When you try to change too much at once, it becomes overwhelming and you implode. But just change these little bits, little by little, a little becomes a lot. So just make minor adjustments until you do reach that big goal that you've dreamed of. But don't think that you start replaying the movie and all of a sudden everything's just like you click your fingers and the whole life changes. It's going to take a lot of time. There is going to be failure. There is going to be hardship along the way. You just know that it's coming. But keep taking action.
Boom. Action taking. Most important. Nothing happens without that.
Yeah.
Action. Brother, that's great. And, hopefully everybody, heard you really well, of what you just shared. So that's brilliant. And I'm going to say that's, part of the mechanisms that you use with people, when you're coaching them, these guys. So super valuable information. So thanks so much for sharing, dude. What I want to do now is move on to our quick fire questions, if that's all right with you. Exactly. Yeah. We've got 10 of them for you. And this is how we, start to wrap up the interviews with everybody that comes on. So I've got 10 quick fire questions. So I just want you to answer, top of mind, whatever's there. And we'll see how quickly we can rattle through this. And this will give everybody, a little bit of insight into Owen Lewis. So quick fire question. Number 1, what is your favorite swear word?
Prick.
Prick. Awesome. Quick fire question number 2. What is your biggest turn on?
I think someone who's heartfelt and a nice personality and a smile that you're connecting deeper. You've gone deeper into the soul.
Nice. Quick fire question number 3. What sound or noise do you absolutely love?
Birds or the sound of running water.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of hearing the rain, on the roof and the windows and things like that. It's very soothing. Awesome. Quick fire question number 4. What is the last meal you would want to eat before you died?
Oh. Ganache, which is in Hoi An, an Indian restaurant in Hoi An in Vietnam.
Beautiful. I have no idea what that food is. It sounds glorious.
A restaurant, when I lived in Vietnam with my girlfriend, we lived there for a few months and we ate there about 4 nights a week. So
it's good. That's what I just tell
exactly. Very, very good Indian.
All right, I'll get a Google Map pin off you when we finish this. Awesome. Quick fire question number 5. What is your favorite perfume or cologne that you like to smell on others?
I don't know. I don't think I'm in tune with my smell senses. I'm just like, oh, that smells good. I never really kind of attach anything to it. Yeah.
Interesting. Like I'm a big a big smell fan.
Yeah.
Like I like literally smell my way through the day, like people and things that I eat and, you know, objects that are around me. Like really helps me to get in tune with like the deep emotional part of myself.
Yeah. If anything, it would be a Subway. If someone smells like Subway sandwiches, I'm like, yeah. Honestly, man, I can smell a Subway from blocks away. I'll be like to my girlfriend, there's a Subway around here. We'll come around the corner and there'll be a Subway.
That person smells like Southwest sauce.
Italian BMT? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favourite.
Yeah, with Southwest.
Yeah, with the Southwest dude. I'm all over that. The Italian meats. Yeah, I love it. Sweet. Quick fire question number 6. What is the last gift that you bought somebody?
I recently bought a client the Daily Stoic to book by Ryan Holiday. It has 365 pages. You read a page a day, so it's bite-sized bits of stoicism with a nice breakdown of it. So I think it really helps my clients to. I buy that quite often, actually, as a gift. Helps people just tune into persevering stoicism, essentially.
Beautiful. Love it. Quick fire question number 7. Are you an early riser or are you a night owl?
Early riser. All day. Every day.
Boom. Quick fire question number 8. Tea or coffee?
Silly question. Coffee all the time. Silly question. I love coffee. I go to like coffee festivals. I'm not so much on the taste, but I just love being the caffeinated, the buzz of coffee, the habits that go into around coffee, the experience of coffee.
Yeah, same. Yeah, absolutely same. I'm trying to open my horizons into like, you know, different teas and stuff now as well. I don't want to be that. I guess I'm not worried about the perception, but sometimes I worry that I'm not opening up my taste buds, you know, to different opportunities. So I've been trying different teas recently, but I'll let you learn more about that on my social media. So we can stay friends. That's good. You know, you're a coffee lover just like I am. Quick fire question number 9. What's your favorite place in the world?
Favorite place that I've ever been and felt most calm was in the Kashmir mountains in northern India, which is the Himalayas.
Nice. It's a beautiful place, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was actually up there because it was a long story, but we were coming down a road and all of a sudden the car stopped after about 17 hours of driving and there was a civil war in a town. And we just met this random South African guy who goes, hey, you know what? I'm starting a trekking company up here. Do you want to come up? We met this guy who was a gypsy and we brought us up into the mountains and we started trekking because we couldn't make it past those roadblocks. There were stolen cars that would come in. And we were seeing in the news like 20-something people died in this tiny town of like a couple of 100,000. And we're up in these beautiful mountains with no signal, just sitting there in tents with gypsies who just live in the mountains and grow up in the mountains. This guy spoke like 7 or 8 different languages but he couldn't write any languages because all he ever did was just trek with tourists from all over. And it was just so peaceful and blissful. And if anyone has me on Facebook, and sure, add me after this, you'll see my background photo, and I've had it like that for years, is the time that we went up to the mountains where it's looking out. We did about an 8-hour trek to get to this place called the Blue House. They just kept going, the Blue House. It just looks into this valley down through the Himalayas. It was amazing. Best night of my life.
That sounds fucking epic, dude.
Yeah, it was a crazy journey. Even after that, like we had a military escort with the Indian Army. They were like, get on our trucks. And my girlfriend kind of freaked out. Guys just there with like mad machine guns in this armored car. And we were like, fucking hell. So
it's real. Yeah, it's real, right? You know, like the first time you sit in that environment when you've only ever like seen that amount of weapons on films, and you're like,
yeah.
Fuck balls.
What the hell's going on? Yeah, fuck. So it was crazy. But yes, that was my favorite place. Just felt so calm, peaceful, content up there.
Beautiful. Love it. Quick fire question number 10. Have we seen your best yet?
No way. No, I think there's definitely more to come. I think there's more that I want to give. There's more that I want to serve to people and put out there. I think there's just plenty more to come.
Excellent. I believe that as well. Owen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I'd love you to, we'll put all of this in the show notes too. So if you're listening or watching this, you'll see this in the description and everywhere. But where can people find you? Tell them about your website and your social media and things like that.
So you can check me out, www.coachowenlewis.com, or best place is probably just add me on Facebook, personal Facebook, just go Owen Lewis, just shoot me a friend request. That's probably best. I'm more of a personal type of guy. I like to get to know people. So just shoot me a message there, add me, and then if we're friends on Facebook, then I guess we're actually friends in real life. It's
official. It's
real. Official. Once I accept that friend request, it's official. We're friends. So shoot me a friend request on there. That's probably the best place. And check out the website.
Beautiful. And your book, where can people find your book?
Yeah, so the book is also on the website. If you go on www.coachowenlewis.com, or you can also go on to www.manthefuckup-and-learn-to-love-yourself.com. If you don't want to type out that really long domain, coachowenlewis.com, there'll be a link in there where you can grab yourself a copy of the book. As well, the book is free shipping. All you got to do, the book is free. All you got to do is pay for the shipping as well. So that's a bit of a promotion we're running at the moment because the book has just come out. So go on, grab a copy there.
Beautiful. Is it on Amazon too?
Yes, on Amazon you can grab it as well. But again, you'll have to pay shipping and the book. So
got it. Yeah. So if you want a deal right now, go to the website.
Go onto the website.
I'll drop
if you're listening to this in future times, if you're listening to this, years later from the future, people of the future, go on to Amazon. It's probably best.
Sweet. Dude, thank you so much for
coming
on and talking to me and sharing all about yourself. I'm more than confident that people have really enjoyed listening to this and hearing all about you. So, is there anything else you want to? Is there any parting words that you would love to leave everybody with?
No, just take action. Do it. What you got to do. I think everyone knows in themselves what they've got to do. Just start taking action.
Nice. You heard it here. Take action. Stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Yes.
Owen, thank you so much, buddy. I've been Rich Wellington from richwellington.com, and you've been listening to the Transformative Sales Podcast. See you next time.